Hi everyone, welcome to another reading vlog. It's time. Tis time. So I've just started Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I'm loving it already. So the writing is phenomenal. Can I just read this out to you? I was like punched in the face by how beautiful the writing is. Listen. The scarf at his throat was secured with a leaping stag done in gold, its single eye a winking green gem, and the careful turn of his words were like a twisted chain of gold compared to the simple links of Verity's speech. Are you joking? Amazing. And that's just one example. So this is going to be a spoiler-filled vlog because I want to talk. I realized in my mistborn vlog, it's just too hard not to speak my thoughts. We met with our main character, who at the beginning has no name. He's just referenced to as boy. And the book opens up with our main character reminiscing, like looking back on his childhood and I'm guessing on his life. And he says that before 6 years old, he doesn't remember anything, but he remembers so clearly after everything that happens when he's like 6 years old and up. And then he like makes a very like blasé kind of allusion to something about skill. Like, is it an effect of his skill? Anyway, so his grandfather basically like throws him at the royal keep and is like, you take care of him now because I've been taking care of the prince's son for 6 years. I have housed him, I have fed him, I have clothed him, and I've asked for nothing. Now it's your turn. I don't want him anymore. So our character, who eventually gets the name Fitz for bastard, our character is the bastard son of Prince Chivalry. And Prince Chivalry is like this very kind of moralistic, virtuous prince who can do no wrong, because in this world, the royal family are given names, and these names are they're kind of magical. It's like a magical binding that their names equal to that of their personality, that of their talents, etc. And so supposedly you're not able to like break that binding and not be anything but what your name gives you. But like for Chivalry, it's like a punch in the face, because he be out here just sowing his wild oats, and he abdicates the throne and basically disappears with his wife. And poor Fitz is like taken to the royal keep called Buck. Oh my god, what's it called? I literally had it in my head. Buckkeep. Is it Buckkeep? Buckkeep, which is like the palace. Not really a palace, but kind of like a main place in this kingdom, because it's the kingdom of the 6 duchies, and Buckkeep, I think, is the palace for the 1st duchy. Anyway, so he gets there and his dad's gone, right? His dad is nowhere in the vicinity. Politically, things are in upheaval because of the existence of Fitz. But Fitz is just a 6-year-old boy. You know, he's just a 6-year-old boy. He is trying so hard not to be seen, not to be heard, just trying to like coast through. However, I'm trying to figure out like, yeah, the names are like magical. Is there magic in this, or is there some sort of like fantasy element to it? Because obviously it's a fantasy series, but I don't know the magic system yet, and I haven't really been introduced to a magic system yet. But there was this thing where Fitz was talking about sharing the dream of the dog that he's like connected with called Nosy. Is that a power? Is it an ability? Like, what is that something? I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to continue reading this because today's my day off and I don't want to think about work tomorrow. I just want to read. I'm excited to see what happens. I am scared though, because I have been warned by Danny that Robin Hobb is not afraid to really torture Fitz, so that's really great for me.
Okay. I am on page 126. And the thing that I said about Fitz, like dream walking, or dreaming alongside Nosy the dog, it is something. And it's really, like, we haven't yet really been told what it is. It could be a skill, but I think Burrich, is that his name? Burrich? I think he referred to it as a wit. And it's like an old-timey thing back in the day. And it's kind of frowned upon and like a sin to do it now. Yes, the old wit, that from the beginning they were never truly children, they always knew too much. And as they got older, they knew even more. That was why it was never accounted a crime in the old days to hunt them down and burn them. So the wit, it's the power of the beast blood. It starts out like a blessing, giving you the tongues of the animals, but then it seizes you and draws you down, essentially making you a beast. And I want to know more. It's like, what does that tell us about Fitz and his bloodline? I think Burrich himself, there's more to him. But I am adoring this. Anyway, Fitz is now, is an assassin's apprentice. Yeah, we got to that part. I love Cade. I really do. I didn't expect to love him. Don't tell me if he is a horrible person, but right now he's giving Fitz exactly what Fitz wants, which is just company. And I think Cade cares for him. I love, Fitz breaks my heart already. And he's 13. Right now he's 13, and he's been sent off with Prince Verity to scope out the enemy. Well, another duchy, but to scope out what's going on. And if he finds this dude to be treasonous, he has to, he's 13. I just can't believe in 120 however many pages I've read, I am just so in love with this book. I was in love with this book on the first page. I love Robin Hobb's writing. It is so beautiful. Just the way that she describes things. It's like, how do words do that? You read a sentence and you're like, how did she put those words together to make that then mean that? It's fascinating and incredible and amazing. I am obsessed, and I think I need to buy the next 2 books because I am definitely going to be continuing the series. But I haven't been paid in a month, so I don't think that would be responsible spending. I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah, it's incredible already. It's kind of similar to Elantris, Wheel of Time, in that it's very like this. It's not meandering in any way. It's more just slowly, very intensely looking at this characters and just staying with them, studying them, understanding them, and they do doing the most mundane tasks in their life. It's just literally everyday life for them. And we're sitting here hooked, reading it. I love it. I kind of want to know more about Prince Chivalry, who has since died. Pretty sure he was killed. Want to know more about, I think, is her name Lady Desire? Queen Desire, whatever her name is, the queen, so King Shrewd's wife. I think they're going to play a bigger part in this. Also, who is the fool? I don't understand what the fool, his role is, his position, because he acts like a fool, but then he one point with Fitz, he's like explaining something to Fitz, or he's saying these like jumble of words that Fitz is like, what are you saying? Like, I'm sorry, what? He's like, oh, no, you idiot. And he just kind of changes, and he acts like a typical man, and leaving Fitz really confused, leaving me really confused. Is the fool like can he see visions? Does he? Because what he said, I don't know. It was like a tongue twister, but I think it's some sort of prophecy or something. So we shall see what happens, but I hope he comes back. I hope we see more of the fool, because I find him interesting in that very small time we've seen him. Also, Chade, the assassin who is teaching Fitz, is he a bastard son as well? Like, is he like the king's bastard son, or like the king's father's bastard son? Because he said we bastards to Fitz just in conversation, and Fitz didn't clock it, but I clocked it because I'm a smart chicken, okay? And could be a red herring, but is that something? I don't know. But I'm just going to sit here and continue reading. It's wonderful, beautifully written. Fitz, I just want to hold him. You know, just be a sister. He needs family. The poor boy. Oh, my heart is going to be like wrung out by the end of this trilogy. Looking forward to it. Morning, everyone. Oh my God, excuse me. It is the next day. I just wanted to give another little update in regards to Assassin's Apprentice, because I had to force myself to stop reading last night because I have work today, but I just wanted to continue reading. If I didn't have work today, I would have literally continued reading and probably finished it in the wee hours of the morning. I love this book so much already. I think what's really standing out is the way in which Robin Hobb writes her stories. She is such a sensory writer, if that even makes sense. The way that she describes things, it's like, how did she know to put those words together in order to make that feeling, to describe that scent? Like, it's just the most beautiful prose I've read in fantasy. Actually, no, it would be the second most beautiful prose I've read in fantasy. I think the most beautiful fantasy writer I personally is Robert Jordan. He's so descriptive and so lyrical at times, and just so atmospheric. The way that Robert Jordan creates atmosphere and tension and foreshadowing is unparalleled. But Robin Hobb is a close second. I'm absolutely loving how she's crafting this novel. And I think Fitz himself, the care that she's taken in just like intensely studying his character. He's doing the most mundane of tasks majority of the time, outside of, training to be an assassin. And I'm sad. I'm sitting here reading him clean out stables. Like, yes, sir, I am reading. It's incredible, it's engaging. But I also like how she's constructed Fitz as a character in terms of the politics, because Fitz is both inside, like within the political kind of structure. He is an illegitimate son of a royal prince, but he's also outside of that structure because he's the bastard son of a prince. And so watching him watch everyone else, and he is observing all the manipulations, how politics are manipulating people and people are manipulating politics, and he's just watching it all and taking it all in. It's a really fascinating perspective to be in, because he's a child, but he's understanding so much But there's also this level of, why don't they just do this and fix it? Like, it's great. It's so great. I did order the next 2 books in the trilogy. Should I have? Is that responsible in terms of my money? No. But I really wanted to continue the momentum, and I really want to see what happens. I don't think I mentioned this in my update yesterday, but there's been talk of, they call them the Red Raiders, I think? Red Ship Raiders. So we have the Red Ship Raiders that I believe are like pirates, and they keep coming to the coast of the Six Duchies Kingdom and raiding, pillaging, like doing ungodly things to the people there. But what they've been doing now is they've been taking people hostage from the town, giving the town an ultimatum of like, if you pay us this ransom, we'll kill them. If you don't, we'll send them back. And when it first happened, everyone was like, what the fuck does this mean? But when they are sent back, the people that have taken hostage, if the town decides not to pay the ransom, because obviously when you're first confronted with that, you would choose not to kill your townspeople. But they come back not themselves. And when Fitz with Chade goes to one of the towns where this has happened, they come too late, and they find these people there that are like raiding, they're the townspeople, but they're raiding their own township, and they're the only people there. And Fitz, because he can feel people's emotions or something, but Fitz is like, they're basically made of stone, we need to leave. There's nothing that makes them human anymore. And so this thing, they call it like forged. The kingdom has started calling it, oh, we don't want to be forged. Pretty sure I'm not making that up. Forged. And so this is happening, but the king hasn't made any sort of official stance on it. Like, he's obviously between a rock and a hard place, because if he says you have to pay the ransom, he's basically condoning the killing, like the slaughter of his people in these different towns. But if he says don't pay the ransom, let them come back, when these people come back, they end up killing people, they end up doing the most horrendous things because they're not human anymore. So the King Shrewd hasn't done anything, and because he hasn't done anything, each town is basically taking it upon themselves to try and figure out what they would do if this was to happen. And Fitz is watching all this, and he's also observing this and like talking to Chade about it. And Chade is like, yeah, if the king doesn't make a stance, there's going to be no kingdom anymore. And it's just interesting because Fitz is like, then why hasn't he? And there's like this level of childhood innocence to Fitz still. He's 14 years old now, but with such a sharp intelligence. It's very, very fascinating to be in his mind, to be in his world. It's amazing. So I just wanted to say that because I don't think I emphasized in my update last night how beautiful the prose is, how the actual physical experience of reading this book is incredible. And like, I'm not just talking about the story, but like just the writing, like being in this world with Robin Hobb's writing is just, I didn't expect it, to be honest. It's like the first time that I read The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan, I was absolutely blown away by just his writing. And I remember saying, I don't know, I think it might have been in a blog post, I remember saying, no one told me that his writing is this level of gorgeous. And I feel like that's my fault, because you make assumptions about fantasy writing that, like in the beginning especially, because I was a fantasy reader, but like not an epic fantasy reader. And so going into high fantasy has been just a really interesting experiment in learning how different writers write and craft their stories. Like John Gwynne, I feel like John Gwynne's writing is kind of like a sword, right? Like it's very straight to the point, blunt, it's quite violent, but it takes training to learn how to master the sword. Does that make sense? Like it takes time to understand how he writes because it can be quite dense. Robert Jordan is lyrical, almost masterful with his words. He can spend chapters on describing, you know, the landscape, but it's for a purpose, and it's for like foreshadowing, it's for atmosphere, it's somehow developing the characters themselves. Like Robert Jordan's writing is unparalleled, and it's so lyrical and so beautiful. But he also writes action scenes like nobody's business because of his prose. It's amazing. Brandon Sanderson is like the most accessible high fantasy writer, but accessibility doesn't mean like simple. Brandon Sanderson is kind of like the Frederick Bachman of high fantasy in that he really understands human emotions, and in very kind of easy to read prose, he kills you and utterly destroys you. Like Brandon Sanderson has a beauty to his own writing, but it's a different kind of beauty. Robin Hobb, she's sensory. She's giving metaphors. She's giving George R.R. Martin wishes, you know, like that's kind of how I would describe their writing. I love Robin Hobb's writing so much already, and I think it's because of how she describes things, but also obviously the construction of Fitz himself. I am so excited to see how her writing develops over the realm of the elderlings, because next is the Live Ship Traders series. Can't wait. I never thought I'd be this excited about reading about ships, but I'm very excited about reading about ships because there has to be a connection if we've got the red ship traders, you know? Yes, okay, so I've been talking for too long. I'm going to continue my morning to get ready for work and stuff, but I just wanted to do a quick update. I had to go and drop off a key to my boss at her place, and I forgot to unbox them on camera, but I got the other 2 books in the Farseer trilogy, and they are so beautiful. They are so beautiful. Look at this. This is Rural Assassin. It's not as like floppy as this Flopstar, but like it's fine. It's so beautiful. I think this is like the Red Ship Raiders. Maybe they're going more into that. I'm not looking at blurbs because it'll be spoilers. And then look at this chunker. Assassin's Quest, my nails kind of match. How beautiful. Is that a dragon? I know there's a series about dragons in this world, but we haven't really heard much about like supernatural beings, like fantastical beasts, but wow, they are so pretty. I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed. But I wish they all had the same floppiness because it makes the experience so much better. But look at them. Look how cute. Oh my god, they're gonna look so good on my shelf. Adorable. Kind of looks like a manuscript. Anyway, just wanted to show you. I am still working. The last paragraph before the epilogue of this goddamn book just killed me.
can't even read it out to you because I'll start crying again. It was about Nosy, the dog. To the end of my days, I will bear the scars he gave me. His worn teeth sank deeply into my hand several times before he managed to drag me from that pool. How he did it, I will never know, but his head still rested on my chest when they found us, his mortal bonds to this world broken. Nosy was dead. I believe he gave his life freely, recalling that we had been good to one another when we were puppies. Men cannot grieve as dogs do, but we grieve for many years. Killed me. Anyway, I just finished this book. I feel like the last 50 pages was... So Fitz was sent by the king to assassinate the heir to the throne of the mountain folk, and this was based purely on information that King Shrewd was given by his son Regal. Regal is a cunt. So poor Fitz goes there and he's like, this prince, I think his name is Wurrung, I can't really pronounce his name properly, is not at all what Regal has described him as to Shrewd. And Fitz tries to get in contact with Shrewd and be like, this is not, something's wrong here. But Shrewd kind of is like, just do your job. What ends up happening is he realizes that he's not going to do it. So he goes to Prince Rusik, and he's like, they told me to pour this poison in your wine and kill you, but like basically I don't want to do that. But Fitz didn't know that Regal kind of planned for that, and so the wine itself was poison, and so Fitz also got poisoned. And yeah, it was just a lot of things happened within the last 50 pages that I'm just like, I feel like the ending could have been different. or add a few more pages, because it was a lot. And I think things happened a bit too quickly. Maybe? I don't know. Maybe it was meant to happen so quickly so that the kind of craziness that we feel when reading this depicts the craziness that Fitz feels. A fantastic book. Absolutely fantastic book. And I am going to start Royal Assassin immediately.
It is finally update time. So, last time you saw me, I had just finished reading Assassin's Apprentice and I was in tears. I just needed time to collect my thoughts because I was just uncontrollably crying. And then after I filmed that update, I went to my mum and told her, because it really hit me. It emotionally impacted me. I love this book. I love this book so much. And I think I've described why I love this book so much. I don't know how Robin Hobb does it, but the fact that you're with Fitz, and only Fitz, and you're alongside him as he's growing up and he's unfortunately kind of learning about the realities of what he is and how society perceives him, but also what his role is. Because of that, it's amazing. It's just me gushing about this book. If you could hear my dog in the background breathing, it's because he's snoozing. I love Robin Hobb's writing. The character work that she has done in this book is insane. This is only just over 300 pages. No, it's 392 pages. she does so much in like a relatively quite short amount of time for a high fantasy. And that just speaks to her absolute mastery of writing. Okay, I finished this book, and although I was blown away, I love so many aspects of this book. The magic aspect to it is something that I'm still slightly confused about. Well, not confused. I feel like because Fitz doesn't really know much, we don't really know much, which I quite liked that. But I just wanted to point it out just in case people are like, oh, but you know, the magic system is not well thought of. I don't think it's meant to be in the first book because we're from the perspective of a boy, you know, he's a child and then he becomes a teenager and he doesn't actually know much about the wit and the skill, and he refers to different like dragons and stuff as supernatural, or like creatures of myth, right? But we know that in this world there are dragons because there's an entire series about dragons. So it's just really interesting to see how Fitz is learning still so much about this world, and therefore we are. I'm really loving it. It's fantastic. So yes, Assassin's Apprentice, 5 stars. I don't think there's anything that I want to add. I think my last few updates really encapsulated why I love this book so much, how I think Fitz as a character, the way that he's outside and inside of everything that's happening, and he occupies such an interesting position because he is part of the royal court in a sense, and he's the assassin for the king, but he's also, you know, the illegitimate son of a dead prince, and he's kind of within the soldiers, you know, and he's with the servants and with the stable master and the stable boys, and he goes down to town and he's with the townies. So it's like he sees both, which I don't think anyone in the royal family can do, does, because they're royal. But yes, so I think Fitz's character is just the best. But boy, I was warned that he goes through it, and book one, like how much can a boy go through? How much can a boy go through? He's literally thrown to the royal family. He then is introduced to what he has to do, which is be an assassin. And like he chose it, but it's not really a choice, right? And then he loses 2 dogs. One is taken from him, who then eventually dies trying to save his life at the end of this book. And the second puppy, Smithy, was killed because he was such a good boy. And then a variety of other things that happen. It's just like, oh my God, this boy does not catch a break. He is just constantly traumatized, the poor darling. And then he was poisoned. Like, he's just... I would just be like, you know what? I'm closing my door. I'm staying in bed. I am not leaving. Go fuck yourselves. That's what I would do. So yes, read this, amazing, fantastic. And then guess what I did? I started the next book. Yes, I did. Yes, ma'am. Did I ever? So let's talk about book 2 in the Farseer trilogy. My first update for Royal Assassin. She's a chunky bitch. I love her. I love her. Look at that. Oh my God. So she's actually not that chunky. She's only 648 pages. So I think the next book, Assassin's Quest, is over 800 pages. Not too sure though. But this is Royal Assassin. When I tell you this book has me in a chokehold. I am on my lunch break currently. And I had to force myself to work because I was like, just to 12:30, get to 12:30, and then you can have an hour break for lunch, you can eat, and then you can read. And now I'm doing this. You're welcome. I am taking away really important reading time just to talk to you. Yes. Anyway, Royal Assassin takes place essentially immediately after Assassin's Apprentice. When I say essentially, after the events of Assassin's Apprentice, you know, the whole poisoning thing, it was a bit touch and go for a while for Fitz. So Fitz stayed in Yampe with the mountains folk, and is it Yampe? I'm pronouncing it Yampe. And they remind me of the Aiel, if you've read Wheel of Time. Anyway, just was like, oh yes, I'm reading that next month. So he and Burrich stay there for a while to heal, because remember, Burrich also got hit in the head. He was unfortunately a part of the climax of what happened in Assassin's Apprentice, because Burrich is Fitz's dad. Okay? It's really precious. Anyway, so they stayed there. What's happened though is because of the poisoning, Fitz gets fits. So he has seizures, and it's a result of the poison, and he also has shakes. He calls it, like, he trembles quite a lot, and it gets worse when he's more exhausted. So it was really rough. And in the beginning of this, we spent quite a lot of time with Fitz and just his depression, essentially, because, you know, the only purpose that he has and why he's staying with the royal family and why he's able to be there and kind of have a life is because his purpose is very specific, and he kind of is just thinking like, what happens if I literally can't do what I'm supposed to? What will happen to me? I'll be worthless and useless. So it was this entire thing, and he just really didn't see a point of going back to Buckkeep. Instead, maybe just like leaving and just running away. And Burrich was like, if you're not going back to Buckkeep, I'm not going back to Buckkeep. And it was a really heartwarming scene, because, you know, you have someone who is in Fitz's corner. But after an incident where Fitz accidentally uses his skilling, which is like, I think of it like telepathy. It's just, he can open his mind at random times, and he's literally just like a fly on the wall, like watching random people. So this particular, he was dreaming, and he ended up in the mind of King Shrewd, but he didn't realize that's what he was doing because he was dreaming. So he was King Shrewd. Does that make sense? But he was just a voyeur. Like, he was just in King Shrewd's mind. But that's when he realized that there is a difference to what he was feeling, because he kept on saying that he felt like an old man, like a man that is debilitated by his pain. And then he went into King Shrewd's mind by accident and realized, oh no, that's what it means to be debilitated by pain and just by weakness as a result of the skilling that King Shrewd uses, because now he doesn't use his powers as much because he's weaker and he's going through health issues. So, and he's definitely going to die. King Shrewd is definitely going to die by the end of this book. I'm predicting it. And then when Fitz woke up, he's like, oh, no, I don't feel that way. I think there's purpose in me healing. Like, I can probably recover from this. So then Fitz and Burrich go back to, and Hans, which is a stable boy, go back to Buckkeep. Regal, that motherfucker, he's a prince, so he gets no punishment other than being told what he did was kind of wrong.
and he's given some responsibilities that means that he has to socialize with, you know, like the Karens of the royal court. But Regal's doing what Regal is doing. You know, Regal is going to be such a huge part of this story because he is such a dick, but he's also an entitled one. So he thinks that the 6 duchies should be his to command and not anyone else's because his mother told him so. He's just a boy, and not even one growing up. He's so privileged and so disgusting. Like, he's just so slimy. He's like such an I don't know. Every time he's on the page, I'm just like, Fitz, kill him already. Like, it's fine. No one will be sad. So Fitz goes back to Buckkeep and goes back to doing what he was doing. But I just find that the stakes are much more. The stakes have increased, definitely. For some reason, the forged ones are like hightailing it towards Buckkeep, and no one knows why. And they're somehow grouping themselves. And they're also, fun fact, eating human flesh. Because that's the thing that's happening. And one of them takes a big chunk out of poor Fitz's neck, because of course they do. Of course they do. But fun for Fitz, he got his own little wolf. It's right there. I was wondering why there was a wolf on the cover, but his name is Night Eyes, and he's literally the best. I love him so much. He's such a sassy little thing, and I just loved them coming together and their eventual bonding, because Fitz saves him from this dude selling him at the market down in Buckkeep town. And he saved the wolf with the intention of healing him and like giving him food and then freeing him in the wild, because he's been told by Burrich that the wit and using the wit is horrible and bad and you never do it. But what eventually happens is they bond, and the bonding happens because, because Fitz loves him, but also their pack. Night Eyes calls him brother. Reminds me of Perrin. Again, another Wheel of Time illusion. And but there's a scene where a group of forged ones comes at Fitz. Fitz is alone. He tries his hardest, and Night Eyes comes to the rescue. So cool! It was so cool. It was just really beautiful. But my favorite thing about Royal Assassin currently is that I'm finding that I'm like, Fitz is a teenager right now. He would be around 16. He's also sassy, and he keeps accidentally like talking out of turn with people like Prince Verity, like King Shrewd, even with Burrich, because he has his opinions and he wants his opinions to be known. And then when he realizes, he's like, oh, sorry, sir. I love sassy Fitz. I want more of sassy Fitz. He's precious. I also am really loving Lady Patience. I think she is this really quiet superstar of this book. She loves Fitz in her own way, and it is so beautiful to see. Like, you find out the reason that she came to Buckkeep in the first place after the death of her husband, of Fitz's dad, was for Fitz, to make sure that what is my hair doing? Oh. That he's being treated well. And this, like, just the fact that she did that, I think is a testament to her character, which I just love. I really love her. And Lacey, her like lady's maid, Lacey, she's so cool. She's like, oh my god, she's great. She was trained by Hod. Hod is the weapons master, and essentially like the general, whatever. And Lacey, she got moves. Love it. Also, in a random turn of events, Molly, Fitz's love from Buckkeep town, is at Buckkeep. She was taken to Silt Bay after the death of her dad, because he was in so much debt, she was taken with a cousin or something. But the Red Ship raiders raided Silk Bay and basically killed everyone. And so she eventually made it back to Buckkeep, and she went to Buckkeep to find Fitz and was like, Fitz will like at least loan me some money or like help me out just so I can get back on my feet. And then that's when she found out that Fitz was actually the bastard prince. So that was interesting. I don't really care about Molly and Fitz. Like, I want Fitz to be happy, but this is not going to make him happy because it's going to be taken from him. Molly is either going to be like pushed out of Buckkeep and told to never return ever again, or she's going to be killed. Like, I know with my heart that she is not going to survive the trilogy. But I want him to have some happiness, but also he's a child. He's a child. I love him. I love him so much. But this book is really cool. I think this is my favorite. I wasn't expecting to love this book more than Assassin's Apprentice. I honestly thought it would be kind of the same level of love, but there's something about it. The writing is even more spectacular. The character building of Fitz. Oh my God, so much is happening with Fitz. Just him growing up and just being who he is and learning how to be a man and what is that, and just understanding again his positioning, his purpose, but also kind of not fighting, I'm gonna say like learning the boundaries of what he can and can't do. Sassy Fitz. There's also now more things being introduced to the plot. So we have the Red Ship raiders, obviously, but then we keep on getting excerpts in the beginning of what I'm guessing is Fitz writing the story that make mention of the elderlings. So I think this book is going to be about searching for the elderlings. And I say that pretty comfortable in the knowledge that that's what's going to happen, because the fucking blurb. So I didn't really read the entire blurb when I got this book, because actually I didn't even read the blurb when I got this book, because I got it when I was still reading Assassin's Apprentice, and blurbs have spoilers, right? It literally says here in the third paragraph of the blurb, what I think is a spoiler. When Verity leaves the court in search of the mythical elderlings. Excuse me, sir? Like, why would you say that on the blurb? That's a spoiler. So obviously, they're going to search for the elderlings. I hope the elderlings will be found. And I'm wondering if Fitz's ability to use both the wit and the skill will come together and help summon the elderlings. Who knows? I think Fitz just needs to open his mind wide enough for them to feel his presence or something. But yes, so a few things are happening. Going back to kind of the ending of Assassin's Apprentice, Verity marries Princess Ketrican. So Ketrican has now moved to Buckkeep. I'm gonna call her Kay. Kay has moved to Buckkeep, but the poor darling is alone. She's lonely as fuck. Verity, he was always meant to be the second prince, like second in line. So he doesn't know really how to be the king in waiting. He's never had to really take that role on because his brother Chivalry was always there. And you can really tell. And as a result, he's just constantly working. He's with the ships getting built, or he's like skilling up in his tower. He's never really with his wife, and she's feeling it, unfortunately. So one of Fitz's like missions that he's been given is to just go and see Ketrican every day and like check in on her and maybe like help her like forget about the fact that she's alone. It's hard. It's hard. Because it's not even just having to trying to get to know a man that she didn't even meet until she came to Buckkeep, a fully married woman. It's like a whole different culture, because where Kettricken came from, Yampe, and she's a mountains, one of the people of the mountains, right? The royal family is more like, they're just kind of not figureheads, but everything they do, the wealth of their family is for the wealth of the people. They had relationships with their people could freely come in and out of like the palace, so to speak. She was considered a sacrifice because that was her purpose, and their purpose, the royal family, they sacrifice their health, their love, their wealth, everything for their people. So when she comes to Buckkeep, she's like, why the fuck do I have servants? She's just so confused and confronted by different values, really. And she can't do anything by herself. She doesn't have the agency to just go outside and like leave and go to town by herself, or she wants to, you know, make some swords and shit. She can't do that anymore. Like, she had so many hobbies. She was a really prolific gardener. She was a metal forger. Like, she was doing things when she was home. But now at Buckkeep, you know, she's a princess. She's a queen in waiting, propriety, you know, like she can't do that because of the reputation. Like, if someone saw you doing that, they would think that Verity was this, and it's just, she's like being strangled by all of the expectations placed on her as the queen in waiting, as the one that is the wife of Prince Verity. It's just really sad. It is really, really sad. So my dream is that Lady Patience and Kettricken can become besties. I really would love to see that. I think they would get along really well. Lady Patience is very much an introvert. She's very eccentric. But I think she also does that so she is not included in the politics of the court, because she just wants to stay in her lane. She is very happy doing things that makes her happy and things that she loves. But yeah, so I'm loving Royal Assassin. I think it is just amplifying everything that I loved in Assassin's Apprentice. It is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I'm on page 241, not even halfway. Have to admit, I didn't properly get into it until yesterday because I've just been really, really tired. Also, Robin Hobb has wrote the most beautiful sex scene in the history of literature. Like, it wasn't even an explicit sex scene. It was just kind of like a hazy fragments of Fitz's first time. And it was really beautiful. If you have my copy, it's page 238. It was so beautiful and such a wholesome scene.
I literally cannot handle this. I am so stressed out. I'm on page 517. Hi, Hunter. And I'm not dealing well with this. So I forget that Robin Hobb, towards the end of her books, and I've only read one, obviously, but I can still make this judgment, or this generalization, I should say. Everything speeds up. So much can happen in such a short space of time. Excuse me. So I'm sitting here gasping for air, as you can tell. Literally yesterday, I had to force myself to stop reading, even though all I wanted to do was continue reading. So what hasn't happened? What hasn't happened? Burrich and Lady Patience. Did anyone predict that they would have a history? Not me. Nor I, but it was literally staring right in front of my face. Burrich and Lady Patience were in love, but Burrich had sworn to chivalry, so he couldn't get married to her. But that's his one love that he's lost. Patience didn't know that chivalry was the master that Burrich like swore to until they got married, and then she met him as the wife of the prince when Lady Patience's horse was in the stable, and Burrich was like, I trained this horse. I want them to have a happy ever after now. I think Lady Patience deserves it. But I'm pretty sure both of them are going to die. They are essentially Fitz's parents, and I love that for them, but they're going to die. Because why bring joy to Fitz when you could bring trauma, you know? Anyway, that was, for me, a twist. You should have seen me yesterday. I was jaw-dropping. And then I made a prediction. So I think I said this on camera. I predicted that King Shrewd is going to die in this book. But yesterday, after I was reading, because Prince Regal is fucking everything up, but no one is playing the game like him, you know? Like, no one is going down to his level and doing the same thing. So basically, like, everyone's fucked. Pretty sure he's the main reason for a lot of things that's happening, to be honest. But I made a prediction last night that, in my head, I should say, that what's going to happen, King Shrewd is going to die. And then the queen in waiting, Kettricken, will take the throne, will assume the throne because she's queen in waiting. But then either Regal will somehow topple her off, or do something where she disappears, or he will make it so that she won't have her baby, because surprise, surprise, Kettricken's pregnant, that she won't have her baby, and in the grief of that, she'll give the, what's that word? The kingdom to Prince Regal. But I forgot about Verity. And Verity has gone on a little quest to find the elderlings. And I said to myself, oh my God, wait. Regal is going to say that Verity is dead. Then Kettricken will be in mourning, but he will turn everyone against her. King Shrewd will die. Everyone will want him to be in power. And I was right. That's what he's doing. He's such a little cunt. That's what's happening right now. But Fitz is like, Verity is not dead. Verity is not dead. And so he went to the king and said, dude, focus. Use me to find your son with like the skilling. And so that's what they just did. Verity is alive. He literally said, of course I'm alive. Like, he has that man has no idea. He has no idea at all. The utter, like, havoc that is happening at home. So that's what happens. That's what's happening. And it's incredible. It's so good. It's really good. I'm absolutely in love. I love everything about this book. I can just tell that this is going to destroy me. And so now I want to know what the quest is. Because the next book in this series, the last book in this series, is Assassin's Quest. What's the quest? Is the quest go get Verity? Is the quest Verity's come back, but I need to send a contingent of people to the elderlings and bring them to the Six Duchies? Is a quest a random, we need to go and kill Regal finally? What is the quest? And why is it 850 pages? But I'm having a blast. So much fun. Like, literally, this is what reading is about. Every day in my like little gratitude section of my planner, I'm like, I love reading. Reading good books. It makes me happy. So that's what's happening right now. That's my little update. I just want Regal to be killed. That's all I want. I'm a bloodthirsty bitch. I want him dead. I want this man dead. He's ruining the entire kingdom because he thinks that his dad poisoned his mum when she poisoned herself over time because she was an idiot. Like, she knew what she was doing. She was smoking and taking drugs that over time will prove lethal. And that's how she died. His mum, Lady Desire, Queen Desire, was so inflated with her own ego. I don't think the match was a love match. I'm pretty sure it was just a political match between her and Shrewd, which, like, I understand. Like, who wants to get married? Like, you know, you're a duchess, you have power, why would you want to get married? And so that was like one of her biggest gripes that she would constantly say is like, if I maintained myself as a duchess, if I never said yes, if I didn't have to marry Shrewd, I would have had more power as the Duchess of Farrow than I do now. Because I think she's implying that, like, she's a queen, she doesn't really have, like, she has power, but it's mostly the king that makes decisions about various things. I mean, she could have tried, maybe. Like, Ketrican is amazing. She's so cool, and she just does what she wants to do. But unfortunately, the way that Regal is painting it, he's making it as though Ketrican is doing it as a sort of performance, especially now that she's pregnant. It's like, yeah, he's so evil. It's like, it's really interesting to have like this overarching big bad, in that you have like the Red Ship Raiders and whatever the fuck's happening with them, but you also have Prince Regal. So like, I feel as though, I don't know how, but I feel as though Regal and the Red Ship Raiders have some sort of relationship. I don't know. It's something. Anyway, I'm actually gonna go read now. I'm reading and I'm watching Reacher on Prime because I started watching it last year. Really liked it. I thought season 1 was really good. It was just really fun, punchy, actiony, and that's really what I want. So that's what I'm watching while reading. A bit of a chill time. It is also getting incredibly hot here. It's been a summer. I mean, we're in a heat wave in Victoria. New South Wales is flooding because they've had non-stop storms. Queensland had an earthquake. Like, I feel like the end of the world is coming upon us. And I feel like Trump winning the election was like one of the horsemen of the apocalypse, you know? Anyway, let's go read. They are going to take King Shrewd and Ketrican, smuggle them out of Buckheap the night when Regal is going to be coronated as, like, not coronated, but coronated as the king in waiting. They're gonna get caught. They're gonna get caught. This is not gonna go well. I'm so scared. Look at that. I'm so scared. It's not gonna go well. The chapter that I'm on is literally called Escapes and Captures. That's not a good title. That doesn't fill me with hope. King Shrewd died. He died. Do you know how he died? He wanted to skill to Verity for the last time, and then Serene and Justin like leaped in and basically, I think what happened is that they pulled his energy away, kind of what Galen was trying to do in Assassin's Apprentice to Verity. Anyway, it was wild, and I think Fitz is in jail. He's in the dungeons because he was like, I'm going to get revenge, and he went after them and killed them, but he did so in front of basically everyone. So I'm on chapter 30. Dungeons, and I don't know what to expect. I think, actually, you know what? Let's make another prediction, okay? Fitz will escape, and he will maybe run towards Fitz. I mean, not towards Fitz, he's Fitz, to Verity. Like, I think maybe he needs to escape. I think that's the only way, because no one's gonna believe him, so he's fucked. This is such a stressful book. This is so stressful. This is me stressing. Like, I'm sorry. What? What just happened? What just happened? What just happened? What an ending. I don't even know what to say. So, Regal won. Yeah. Robin Hobb, she doesn't chill. She really doesn't chill. So, Fitz was in the dungeons and Regal basically tortured him to get evidence of the wit. Then Burrich had an idea, but obviously Burrich couldn't really tell Fitz. So it was mostly through Night Eyes. Night Eyes was like, come with me. And Fitz is like, babe, I'm in a dungeon. He eventually figured out that Burrich had organised with Cade to poison him. Well, he figured out that Burrich wants him to take these herbs that he concealed and spat to him. Spat? I'm not explaining this right, but Burrich gave it to him concealed as a spit, as though he was so angry and disgusted with Fitz. But then Fitz realised that Burrich wants him to take it, and so he was like, I have to trust in what Burrich wants me to do, in what Night Eyes is telling me to do, and so that's what he does. So essentially these herbs were organised by Cade because Burrich remembers a story that his grandmother told him, that you can take these herbs and basically look like you're dead and act as though you're dead, but you're not. And his consciousness was protected by Night Eyes. He was with Night Eyes. And then after a few days, I think, Burrich told Night Eyes, you need to give him back now. Night Eyes was reluctant, let's just say that. The ending was an italicized excerpt from future Fitz saying that, like Verity, he left Buckheap and he went in search of his queen and the heir. And that's kind of all we find out. But, oh my God. What a book. What an incredible second book in a trilogy. Will I start the third? Yes, I will. You know why? Because today is my day. Today is my day to do whatever I want. And I want to read Assassin's Quest. Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened.
Yeah. I'm cold, okay? That's why I look like the way I look. I am 194 pages into Assassin's Quest. And I'm so stressed. I know it doesn't look like I am, because I look like I'm extremely tired, which I am, but I'm also extremely stressed. Fitz is trying to get into the palace, into Regal's palace at Tradeford, right? How? Babe, it's not going to work. It's really not going to work. I feel like the more logical plan would have been just to go straight to Verity and then come up with something together for Regal. Because what's Fitz going to do? He's going to get caught. He's going to get imprisoned. He's going to be forced to do the King's Circle, whatever it's called, which the way that it sounds like it's like a gladiator situation, a champion in quotation marks against a forged one. It's not going to go well, Fitz. It's not going to go well, and I'm really stressed, but I also want to take a nap. That's how I feel, but just a lot of stress. However, I did want to say Fitz met with a couple who were of the same abilities. They have the wit, but they don't call it the wit. They say that that's actually a word used to describe them by people who don't have the wit. It's like a derogatory term. They call it the old blood. How cool is that? So that was really interesting because I really want to see more of that. It's just a cool ability, okay? It's a really cool ability. Verity is still somewhere. He's still alive, at least, but the Red Ship Raiders have not stopped. So I just can't foresee how this wraps up. So I'm really interested to see what Robin Hobb does. I just like, how is she going to conclude it? And when do the dragons come in? Oh, Night Eyes met with a wolf pack. So he's gone off with them for a little bit. Hopefully he comes back. I want Night Eyes to have a really good life. You know, he won't. I feel like everyone that Fitz loves is going to meet a really bad ending. But I just wanted to do a quick update. I've been reading today and really happy to be back in this book. I had a 5-day break from reading Assassin's Quest, which I needed. I read 2 other books. I finished reading one book and then started and finished another one. It just felt good, but I'm ready to get back into it. I'm really worried that we will never now ever see Burrich and Chade again, and that makes me really sad. Like, I feel as though the next time that Fitz sees them, they'll be dead. Like, he'll see their bodies or something. Like, I just am worried that that's going to be what happens. Or it could just be stupid theorizing on my part. But I'm expecting the worst. Okay, I might take a nap because I can't keep my eyes open.
Okay, so hear me out. When Fitz goes to, obviously he's in Tradeford, and Fitz is obviously trying to find Regal to kill him. Instead, he kills 2 guards that were there and helped torture him on his way to trying to find Regal, right? Anyway, Will, one of the people in the coterie, trained by Galen to use the skill, he's the leader now. Will uses his skilling and forces Fitz, without him knowing, to see things that aren't actually real. So Fitz thinks that he's entered Regal's rooms, but it wasn't. He did, prior to this, go somewhere thinking that they were Regal's rooms, maybe not his actual bedroom, but he had clothes there and stuff, and he poisoned things. I don't know if that's actually Regal's room. But the second time, Will created this hallucination, essentially. And Fitz was like, okay, you've done this, no problem. Grabs his blade that he's put poison on, slices himself, looks at Will, smiles and says, I'm gonna die now anyway. Will wasn't expecting that. But what happens is Fitz is like constantly wide open, like with his mind. So... And also he has that connection with Verity still. God knows where Verity is, right? And so he's thinking about like, yeah, I'd rather commit suicide than be captured by Regal again. And then Verity's like, suicide? What the fuck is happening? He doesn't say that, but he does say suicide? Like, what are you doing, Fitz? And then Fitz kind of looks around, realizes that his chances of living are very low. Whilst he's realizing this, Verity is like in his mind, like, what the fuck? Verity uses the depth of his skill to essentially, I don't know, like send out a wave of just like pure power to everyone in the room. So the guards and Will and the rest of the coterie. I don't know how to pronounce that word. But doing that, it's like Verity's reserves, like it's all of his power. He does that screaming or like commanding Fitz in a very loud voice. Come to me now. And like, that was really sexy. It's like, yes, I'm coming. I just wanted to share that I thought that it was very sexy of Verity, okay? He needs to have those moments more. But Fitz should have been going to fucking Verity from the start. Like, it just proves that Fitz is just, like, he's not well mentally. Like, he's dealing with so much trauma. He's honestly dealing with depression and just a lot of shit is happening for him mentally and emotionally. And I want him to be safe. But yeah, Verity, it was pretty hot. I'm very stressed. Oh God. Okay, it's the final update. I finished Assassin's Quest. Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was incredible, amazing, beautifully written. The fact that the dragons were the elderlings, I didn't expect that at all. Assassin's Quest is mainly Fitz walking to places, right? But at the same time, so much happens. I feel like it's just this huge expansion of the world, especially of Fitz's world, because he's going to new places, seeing new things. He finds Verity. It was really sad to see Verity, but he was carving a dragon, and you find out how elderlings are created. And so Verity pours himself into the carving of this dragon, like literally pours himself. He loses memories, emotions to this dragon so that this dragon can fly and he can fight the Red Ship Raiders. He's loyal to a fault, the poor darling. But then there's other elderlings, and they're woken up because they need to feast. And what do they feast on? Humans. It was just so wonderful. It was so wonderful, and I didn't predict it. I'm really looking forward to learning more about the elderlings. They're so interesting. The entire world is so fascinating. Robin Hobb is a marvel. The ending was beautiful. Fitz is he's back at Bucktown, around Buckkeep, and because no one really knows he's alive, and he's with Night Eyes and just doing his thing, riding, hunting with Night Eyes. He's like fostering a kid that I forgot her name. Oh my God. The minstrel, what's it called? The person who plays songs and stuff, who creates them. I forgot her name, but they have kind of like this thing going on, and she comes to him one day and she's like, here you go, he's yours. And Fitz is like, is he actually mine? She's like, no, I found him, but I think you would do him good. And so he's taking care of this random child, and it's beautiful. And Burrich and Molly get together, which I didn't expect, but at the same time it made a lot of sense, because Burrich was there helping Molly, taking care of the kid, Fitz's kid, and they both believe that Fitz is dead. And Fitz is like, it's going to cause too much issues now. If I come back, they're happy, they're in love. And it was really beautiful. I really liked it. I love the Fool. I think the Fool is one of the most standout characters. I can't wait to read their trilogy because I think it's going to be a lot in the best way. But it was a fabulous book, a fabulous ending to the series. It took me a while to sit down and do this update. I think it's been a week. I've just been reeling from it. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. Thank you so much for watching this very long Farseer trilogy reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed me gushing because I sure did. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Bye friends.